friends, welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge, and this is my new studio space. It's not done. There will be decorations and stuff coming up. I just have the bare bones ready. I finally got to move out of my bedroom. I've been doing all my recording in my bedroom for several years now. And now I'm gone downstairs. My knee's good enough to go up and down the stairs as much as I want during a given day. So I'm all set up down here now. So my knee replacement, it's not perfect yet. I'm still recovering a bit, but I really like it. Thank you, Dr. Pierce. We've got the Civivi Minimis today. It's a little guy. Let's cover up my face so it'll focus on it. It's a little fixed blade knife, 10CR15CO MOV stainless steel, Chinese VG10. Just a basic steel blank. We've got a tiny bit of a lanyard, titanium bead that comes with it, Kydex sheath with a pocket clip. There we go. If you've not yet subscribed to the channel, click on that subscribe button. If you want to support the channel, go to patreon.com/CCE or click that join button right beside the subscribe button. And now, we're going to take a good close look at this thing. Stick around, you're going to like this. So here it is, but I don't have everything here. It did come with a black bead chain, like a neck knife chain. I really dislike how those bead things feel on my neck. So I did carry a neck knife style a little bit. I used paracord with a breakaway plastic snap on the back. I've had other videos where I've talked about the breakaway stuff. I like those a lot, but this does come with a steel chain that you can wear. It also comes in a stonewash finish or this blackwash finish, which I'm quite happy. I like the blackwash finish a lot. The lanyard, yeah, I don't really need the lanyard. I would probably do without, but I wanted to show it to you. It's not that hard to take off. You just have to bring the loop here over each of these knots, and then you can get it off. Now, my fingers don't work like they used to. I've lost some sensation in them over the years. Bent my nail. Got my attention. There we go. Now it's coming apart. This is a titanium bead, so if you like that, use that. The cordage that they use here, it's just pretty cheap cordage, but you can certainly use it if you want to. So put that little C in the corner of the screen for Civivi. The sheath, it's a little taco style sheath, you know, just fold it over, and then we've got 6 rivets holding it together, and the pocket clip is actually quite good. There's good retention on it. So with a pair of pants, if you wanted to use this in a pocket, that works just fine. You put it in your pocket like that, and it comes off the whole thing. It doesn't take the knife off separately. There, I just poked my finger. Hey, cut towards your chum, not your middle finger. Hopefully you're not too grossed out with a tiny bit of blood. So, yeah, it doesn't retain well enough. I did try it with a clip on here, and that held on well enough that I just pulled the knife out. So clip's quite good idea. So the sheath is nice. The retention's quite nice. It holds it tight. You know, it's not loose at all. It's not going to fall out from gravity or anything. So the sheath, I'm happy with. The clip, you know, you could do better, but it's not a terrible clip the way it is from the factory. It just depends on how you want to use it, right? So we'll put that off the screen. How much does this thing cost before we get too far ahead of ourselves? The price is $55 US for this knife. Well, you got VG10. I don't think that's a bad price for this knife. You take off 10% at White Mountain Knives with my coupon code CCE, and then this is $49.50. So under 50 US for this knife. I don't mind that. Fixed blades like this have no problem at all crossing the border into Canada. The badging on the knife. I like how they put OSTEP held design in nice letters there so you can easily read it. But just below that, it says 10CR15CO MOV. legible, but it's not bold in your face. It's good that the designer gets their credit. And then on this side, we've got Civivi. I like that they put it on that inset, milled in section. It's a little less likely to get worn away from touch, but if you're touching it like this for some harder cutting, it might rub off, but it's okay. We've got some jimping along the spine of the knife here, which is a good long segment of jimping. That's over an inch of jimping. A little bit of a jimping here for your index finger, a little bit jimping back here. My hands are just within the extra large range, and I find this thing quite comfortable in the hand for smaller tasks. This is not a big, hard-working knife. It's just a nice little EDC. And yeah, you can carry it so many different ways. The blade shape, we've got a slight drop point here, good amount of belly, some straight section, a really nice sharpener's choil that's big enough. It's very thin behind the grind, which is good. And, you know, the tip comes down. It's good for piercing if you need to. Not piercing into really hard stuff because, yeah, you do have grip on here, but it's not a super amount of grip. You could wrap it in some light paracord. Now, I've got some 3-strand paracord, and that's just about right for this. You just have to make sure you remember to not wrap all the way to the end here. You need to leave room for it to go into the sheath, but you could wrap some paracord back there and get a little bit better grip if you wanted to. You didn't know 3-strand paracord exists? Yeah, there's 3-strand, 7-strand, 5-strand, 11-strand, 9-strand. There's all kinds of paracord out there. How well does it cut? This blade shape is really nice for cutting. Delicate work, opening packages, that kind of stuff, you know, holding it sort of on a side grip like that, it worked really well for me. I did lots of cutting. The finish held up. You can't see any marks on the finish there. The grind angles, yeah, not so good, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. We don't have any teardown to show you because there's nothing about that, except for you can see here we've got some screws, and those screws are tiny. Here's my T8 screwdriver. No, that doesn't fit. You need to have a T6 driver if you want to take the pocket clip off, and it's T6 on both sides. So you're best off having 2 T6 drivers in order to take that apart. So that's the teardown. So quick, so easy. Let's go over all the dimensions. The weight of this thing, the knife, this thing is 24 grams, 0.8 ounces, not bad. The sheath is 16 grams, that's 0.6 ounces. If you want to add the lanyard in, that's 4 grams, 0.15 ounces. The total weight of all this, 44 grams, 1.55 ounces. Without that, this is 1.4 ounces. And this is how I carried it most of the time. The dimensions, the cutting edge, 52.2 millimeters, 2.05 inches. Good amount of cutting edge. I don't have a blade length for you per se, because where do you measure it to, right? The blade thickness, well, the blade stock and the handle stock, that's the same thing. 2.93 millimeters, 0.115 of an inch. The blade depth, 17.1 millimeters, 0.673 of an inch. How thin is it behind the grind? That's where this edge goes from being nice and shiny to black right there. 0.4 millimeters, 15.5 thousandths of an inch. So nice and thin indeed. The grind angles. This side's got an average of 24.1. This side's got an average of 23.5. So it could have been sharpened better. A little thing like this, I'd sharpen it to 18 degrees per side. But what they did, this side started at 25.1 and then quickly went to 24.1, 23.6 is from the middle to the tip, it was about 23.6. Yeah, so that's why it's 24.1. This side started at around 23.7, 23.6, and 23.4, and kept that close to the tip. So a little bit too blunt of an angle. I wish it was a smaller angle, like I said, 18 degrees per side, would be a whole lot better. And then it would cut even better, and it cut okay to start with. The handle length, again, we don't have a handle length because where do you start measuring it? But if I go until the end of this cutout right here, oh, I didn't write that down. That length between my thumbnails right now is on the screen. The thickness, I already told you about that, 2.93, 0.115 of an inch. The handle depth, 15.5 millimeters, 0.61 of an inch. The grip area in here, 6.5 centimeters, 2.5 inches. And the total length of this knife, 125.7 millimeters, 4.95 inches. So you got 5 inches. So what are my thoughts on this thing? What are my feelings? I like that it's completely ambidextrous, very simple. It's very clean. It's very easy to hold. Yeah, it's a little bit small, but they've added nice grip with all that jimping. It's got a pretty strong pocket clip, but it's not strong enough to keep it from pulling out of the pocket. You can change that out if you want to. It's badging. It's nicely placed. It's not too large. I like that. It's a good little knife. It's like a little scalpel. It's so useful for so many things. I ended up gripping it like this quite often for doing small jobs and cutting things and opening packages. It's a nice little knife, easy to carry, easy to use, and I like it. Is it worth the price? I would rather it was a little bit less, of course I would, but I'm quite happy with it. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you to my Patreon and YouTube member supporters. You guys are the best. And remember, friends, cut towards your chum, not your finger and not your thumb.